Well, hello everybody and welcome to Lunch Break Live, real talk about obesity, food addiction, recovery, and what's really eating you. I am Carrie De La Cruz, here today with kind of a mishmash of things that I'm gonna take a stab at. Some of it is your input and my output. Some of it is just my input and my output. I guess all of it's my output. But anyway, I'm looking to see who's here. Hi, Mama. That must mean I'm really, really live and it's not lying to me and just telling me I'm live, but I'm really not. So this is really great. Welcome, welcome. So glad that you guys are here today, as always. You know, I was thinking about it. I got very used to seeing certain faces, certain people who were here every day. And then all of a sudden, I noticed they just weren't here anymore. And, you know, my first instinct is always to say, uh-oh, what did I do wrong? You know, well, the bottom line is this. I have a particular brand of truth that is not always warm and fuzzy. You know, sometimes I get it. We just don't want to have to hear or deal with the truth. And so sometimes we have to step away when it all gets too real. And sometimes we just get darn busy. That's a possibility too. So anyway, if you're here and you're joining me, I'm just grateful and hope that you're getting something out of it. If you're not here, then you don't hear what I'm saying. Having said that, when I did go out and ask you guys what you wanted me to talk about today, Ray Morrison said he wanted me to talk about him. At which point I asked him exactly what would you like me to say, and this is what he told me. I'm going to look at my screen. He said, "Please let them know that I'm a funny, handsome man who makes being bald look cool. He has a wonderful personality. His comedy is hysterical, but he has confidence, self-confidence issues, and low self-esteem." After that, he said I could pretty much make up and say anything I want to. Well, of course, you know the part I'm going to zero in on, and it's not the comedy. It's the self-confidence issue and the low self-esteem. I think a lot of us share that. You know, a lot of us have that in common, that, you know, how good do most of us feel if we're overeating, feel like we're out of control, don't like how we look and feel, you know, feel ridiculed and judged, are limited in our lives. I mean, is there a lot to feel good about if our focus is on our weight, on our obesity, on our addiction, and the quality of our lives stinks? You know, obviously our self-esteem and our self-confidence, they're going to take hits. And I think we get very practiced at the art of thinking badly of ourselves and speaking badly to ourselves. We get very good at that. It becomes a default setting for us. We can go on autopilot. We don't even have to think about it. And the amazing thing is we don't even question it. So we tear ourselves apart, say horrible, horrible things about ourselves that we would never say to our worst enemy. Don't even question them and believe them. And so it is, Ray, that I'm going to springboard off what you said and say, obviously, this is the stuff that eats us up. This is the stuff we feed. And guess what? This is the stuff I talk about every day on the show. This is the reason, perhaps, that some people don't want to come back, because it's just too real. It's just too much. Well, I just kind of think, if you're like me, and by the way, I am not superhuman or I don't have superpowers that enable me to remain in sober recovery every day. I'm no different than anyone else. It's not as if I'm stronger than. It's a choice that I made and make again every day. Trust me when I say this. If I can do it, you can do it. It'll just look different on you. So, a really good way to look at that low self-esteem and that low self-confidence is to say, enough. Okay, I'm done. I'm done beating myself up. I'm done judging myself harshly. I'm done deciding that I'm less than because I weigh more than. I am done pretending that what other people think matters more than what I think. I'm done, okay? And today, I'm going to begin thinking and believing differently. That really is where it starts. We change the dialogue with ourselves. So Ray and all of us who deal with this very same issue, and hey, I get it. We deal with it with comedy, some of us. I do that, you know. But I think face it head on and deal with truth. And because let me just tell you something, self-esteem, self-confidence, when they're low, they run and cower and hide from truth. When you give them truth, they wither and die, and in their place grow healthy confidence and healthy esteem. I really believe that. It's not a load of hooey. All right. Now, I kind of wrote a few things down because today, as you might have guessed by looking at my wall, I'm sort of in an ism, a Carrie-ism kind of a place where I'm kind of thinking about the duality of things and turning things a little bit on their ear, turning things upside down a little bit. The idea about feeding regret only, brings more regret. But when we don't feed it, we don't regret the fact that we didn't feed it ever, stuff like that. So here's what I wrote, and this is like a very bold statement, okay? With which you are free to disagree, or poke holes in it, or tell me where, I might have missed something. That's cool. All right. Choosing recovery does not guarantee that you will be happy, but not choosing it guarantees you won't. Okay? And I think this whole happiness discussion is big, especially at this time of year, because so many of us feel like we're just not happy, but we should be, because we're seeing all the people singing Christmas carols, and we're seeing the happiness in the malls, and the happiness and the gift giving, and the this and the that, and we should and ought to be happy, and we're not, and what's wrong with us? And okay, let me give you a little hint. Nobody is as happy as they want you to believe they are. They're just showing you their very, very, very best selves, because we all get a little down. We all have moments where we are just not as happy as we want you to believe we are. Okay, that's just the reality. Okay, sometimes we really are as happy as we want people to believe we are. Sometimes, especially in my house, let me tell you, it has been mentioned to me on more than one occasion by the other two people who live in my house who do not share the same level of overt enthusiasm that I do, that I might be a little bit excitable and energetic and enthusiastic when I am happy, and I tend to be demonstrable. And other people who live in my house and shall remain nameless are not quite as demonstrably enthusiastic and might get a little exhausted by my exuberance. I'm not saying that I'm Tigger and I live with Piglet and Rabbit and Pooh. I'm just saying it's kind of hard sometimes when you're really, really exuberant and happy. But guess what? This whole happiness thing, this whole joy thing is, made possible by a grant from, as they say on PBS, my recovery that I chose. Because I guarantee you, I was not genuinely, joyfully happy when it was that I was living in my addiction, indulging it and feeding my unhappiness and feeding my obesity. You know what? I wasn't happy. Recovery gives me the opportunity, it gives me the option to choose happiness, okay, that was not there when I was not in recovery. I don't know if that makes sense. So it doesn't guarantee that I'm going to be happy. Not eating something like everybody's in the kitchen right now. I love to talk about this because it's lunchtime at the office. And, somebody sings songs down the hall. Lunch is here. And everybody gets all excited as if, you're like ringing the cowbell, the triangle, ding, 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 right? And everybody gets all excited and they prairie dog over their cubicles and they're like, what? What? Lunch is here? What's for lunch? Meat pies. Really? Meat pies? Okay, those are not anything I need to indulge in. But there's also like an entire kitchen full of Christmas crap. Okay, there's like edible everything, okay? Just junk that you would never eat any other time of year. And it's all back there, all right? Guess what? Eating that never brought me happiness ever, ever, ever once. It just brought me more unhappiness. And not eating it has enabled me to see in life that there are reasons for me to be happy. So I guess that's kind of the point of that whole, there's no guarantee. Sometimes life is going to suck. Sometimes not eating the stuff in the kitchen is going to suck. It's going to be like, doggone it. I wish I could do that. I wish I could, but I choose not to because I want to choose to be joyful and serene and happy and really, really, truly enjoy the season. So I choose not to. I never regret that choice, ever. Just saying. All right, so there's that note about choosing recovery. Doesn't guarantee your happiness. It just doesn't. Sometimes you're just going to be unhappy, but I guarantee you not choosing recovery guarantees your unhappiness. Okay, got that? Another note I have. Recovery creates the opportunity to choose joy. Recovery gives you options but no guarantees. In other words, you can do the next wise thing and hope for the best. And be assured that an unwise choice will likely lead to the worst. Okay? And so, in a sense, maybe that is a guarantee. Maybe that is certitude. You know where that leads. You know where that unhealthy, unwise decision leads every single time. Never deviates. Always follows the same path. We may not always know where the path will lead when we make a healthy or wise choice. But the nice thing is we can definitely say where it won't go, okay? And it won't go to that place that we don't like to live and we don't want to be. All right. To me, addiction and obesity are sure things. Got that? They are sure things. And the reason I say that is because I have a guarantee that overeating will feed my obesity, and not treating my addiction will feed my unhappiness. So, you guys want guarantees? They say, there's no guarantees in life. Sure there are. There's a guarantee about obesity and addiction. A guarantee that if I don't treat them, I will suffer from them and be unhappy. Guarantee. I can take that to the bank, baby. If I overeat, if I start eating something, I won't stop. I can guarantee you that. And I will be unhappy every single time. So, all right, you want certitude? There you go. There's a little bit. So those are kind of like I said, random disparate notes today on the whole concept of like happiness. And, there are no guarantees for happiness, but there are definitely guarantees for unhappiness. Okay, that's how I would sum that part up. Now, the next thing is, there were some notes that I had made where you guys had asked me questions a while back, and I thought I would do my best to kind of take a stab at them. All right, let's see here. I've regained and I'm embarrassed by what people say or think. You've heard me talk about the fact that, we are not supposed... We do care what other people think. We do care. The point is to not let it determine our behaviors or how we feel about ourselves, what we do about it, okay? That is the goal. People are going to think what they're going to think. And guess what? They're going to think stuff about you whether you regain weight or not. And it may not be pretty, People here, we were talking about it for the last couple of days. Okay, not everybody likes me. And that's a bummer for someone who's a people pleaser and wants everybody to like her. People have opinions about me that I am difficult, tough, and maybe a bitch, a little bit. And those are hard words to hear, but guess what? There's not a lot I can do to change their opinion if that's the opinion they're going to have. If I allow their opinion of me to get to me, then guess what? That's going to eat me up and I'm going to want to feed it. And I'm not going to want to feed it a salad, okay? You know what I'm going to want to feed it. So this whole idea of regaining and being embarrassed by what people think, well, the bottom line is, number one, we have to disassociate ourselves or divorce ourselves of, or disconnect from this belief that what other people think about us somehow has an effect on what we do about it, whether we eat or not, because that's not true. We're going to eat if we choose to eat. It's just very convenient to say that the reason we want to eat is because we're embarrassed by what other people think. I mean, that's just a lie. And the sooner that we get rid of that whole connection, that whole stinking thinking thing, and just start to go, bottom line is people are going to think what they're going to think. And really, am I more embarrassed about the fact that I've regained? Oh, yeah, that may be what this is all about. I'm embarrassed that I regained. It's not what other people think. It's what I think. So what are you going to do about it? That's where the rubber meets the road. That's where this truth meets the road. Oh, but it's hard. And? Oh, but I don't know if I can do it. So, do it. You know what I mean? We argue with ourselves when really we just need to show up and say, just do it. Okay, just do it. Just grow up. I mean, Nike had it right. Darn them. All right, so let's see here. I love this question. What happens when all the motivational stuff doesn't work for me? You know what? I totally get that one, because every time New Year's rolls around, everybody talks about goal setting. Here's a little hint for you. I hate goal setting. I hate it with every fiber of my being. I find no comfort and no joy and no serenity in goal setting and planning, and I hate it. All right, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be violent, but really, Okay, so it is demotivating for me when people say, all right, I want you to, have a purpose for your life and what's your plan and have little baby steps for how you're going to get there. It's fine. If this floats your boat, do it. Okay. But if it doesn't float your boat, don't beat yourself up about it, because there are other ways to get there. And one of them for me is to just cut the crap. Just cut all of the, what I call nonsense, and all of the static and all of the reasons, the impediments and the obstacles and all the things I can put in the way of getting what I want, being where I want to be. If I want to live in recovery, then I need to just choose recovery. I don't have to have a plan. I don't have to have a big old fashioned, a big old ridiculous goal. Just do it. Okay. For me, okay. 12-step program. Yeah. I went to meetings. Okay. Did I work all 12 of the steps all at once? No. Did I work them in order? No. Do I fall down on some of them sometimes? Yes. All right. So it's nice to have structure. It's nice to have targets and things like that. But if you're one of those people that gets, just really overwhelmed by goals and planning, goal setting and focus and targets and agendas and all of that nonsense, don't let it get you down, and don't let it stop you from getting what you want. You can get there. And sometimes when people are sitting there going, rah, rah, sis, boom, bah, motivation, 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 and you're going, it's okay. All right. If you're not motivated by what other people are saying, then maybe that needs to come from within yourself. It's that voice that says, all right, enough is enough. I've had enough of this. How about you? You had enough of this self? I've had enough. I'm on to me. You know what? I'm owning my crap. I'm done with this. I've tried it that way for X number of years. I know where that road leads. I'm done. I'm done. All right. So what are we going to do about it? I'm going to roll up my sleeves and do the next wise thing. That's it. So I get it. If the motivational crap doesn't float your boat, then don't get plugged into the motivational crap. Get to the heart of the matter and say, I'm going to quit feeding what's eating me. Okay? That's it. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of my no-nonsense truth for the day. Let's see. What time is it? Okay, I got a few more minutes. Let's see. I've lost the weight, but what do I do with all this emotional baggage? Put it down. Yeah, that's it. It's got a handle on it for a reason, apparently. Set it down. Leave it there. You don't need it anymore. Quit carrying it with you. All right? If you know what it is and you know what it looks like and you go, you know what? This emotional baggage is really heavy. How about if you start to say, I don't need it anymore. I don't even know what's inside the baggage anymore. I haven't opened the suitcases in so long. I have no idea what I'm carrying around, but I guarantee you, I am probably carrying winter wear, boots and thermals, when I'm going to the beach. I mean, it doesn't make sense anymore. And there is tremendous power in saying, I don't need this anymore. I don't need this. And if I don't need it, then why am I lugging it along, dragging it along with me? I am done. Put it down and don't pick it back up again. Yes, you will have the urge to do it because that is what you have always done. You will have the urge to go back and go, wait a minute. Oh, I remember now. I'm supposed to leave that there. Right, I got it. This is new for me. Leave it alone. Leave it. Step away. Drop it. Like I used to say to my dog, drop it, Roxy. That is not yours. You do not need that. Leave it. That's what we do. That's what we do with the emotional baggage, okay? Sometimes we're like, oh, but I'm so worried about what's inside the bags and I just need to look. No, you don't. Sometimes you just don't. Sometimes you just need to say, I am done lugging this around. I think I'm going to try something different. And no, don't pick up more stuff. Leave it. Imagine the things you can do if your hands were free. I'm just saying. All right. Let's see. My weight and addiction. That affects others? How? Well, Leah, my new friend, who is sitting in a hospital room waiting for a heart transplant, my God, woman, we need to talk. You are in my prayers. She said she's a captive audience to the show. And she mentioned that she had worked in a school environment and saw the ravages of addiction on families. How destructive addiction was, alcohol, drugs, things like that. And how the interesting thing was to her, she was like, oh yeah, but I would eat. Because to me, I thought, oh, that addiction isn't hurting anybody. That's just, I'm just going to eat to feel better and I'm just going to do it this, but I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not breaking any rules. I'm filling in the blanks here a little bit. I'm not doing anything. I'm not hurting anyone but myself. See, here's the thing. When we hurt ourselves, how good do we feel about ourselves? How available are we to the people in our lives who love and need us and rely upon us? That is how our addiction affects others, is because when we feel bad about ourselves, there's less of us there to offer. We are less available, and we are more focused on that primary relationship with the food, whatever our addiction is, okay? And she was the one that said, well, pretty much addiction is addiction is addiction. And I get that. And my point in responding to her yesterday was, yeah, but I didn't realize you could be addicted to food. Not for the reason you would think, not because you need food to live, because you don't need Twinkies to live. You don't need Zingers, you don't need chocolate chip cookies, you don't need Doritos to live, okay? You need healthy food to live, and I am not addicted to broccoli or kale, all right? So that was why it was so tricky for me to identify the fact, because I was believing the stories out there that you can't be addicted to something you need to live. Well, you need sex to live too. I mean, it's a natural desire. Don't get into me about the whole, no, what about priests and what about people, blah, 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 blah. I'm just saying, it's like a need that we have, okay? And the point is, when we need it in a healthy way, okay? We need it in a healthy way. There's healthy ways to get our needs met. And so it's a lie that we tell ourselves that we can't be addicted to food because we need it to live, because the kind of foods that we are mostly addicted to are not things we need to live. Okay, so how does this affect other people in our lives? Well, it becomes our primary focus. We will protect it at all costs. It becomes the most important thing in our lives, to get what we want, to eat what we want, to not have to share with others, to not let others see what it is that we're doing. We become evasive. We hide, we don't want anyone. Let me give you a little hint, by the way. Not sure you're an addict. If you feel the need to hide your behavior from somebody, if you are embarrassed to let other people see what or how much you're eating, that might be a little clue that we have a problem. Okay? Might be a clue. And that is one of the indicators I use for my list, is that if I start to feel like, ooh, I just want it, and I'm thinking about it all the time, and then I don't want anyone to see me eating it, then I go, okay, you're on the list. I got it. You're a problem. See? So addiction is a feeling. You can be addicted to the feelings as well. Okay, so that's kind of my disparate random list. And I think as I close out, and lots to think about, lots of percolating going on in my mind, but we beat ourselves up because we don't feel the way everyone tells us we're supposed to feel. And we don't get the results that we are absolutely convinced we're supposed to get. And therefore, if we don't have the results and we don't feel the way we want to feel because everyone told us we're supposed to feel that way, and that the only way to get there is to be motivated and to follow these rules and to set these plans, when all of that stuff fails, that eats us up, and we want to feed it because we feel like failures. We feel less than. We feel like something is wrong with us. We're humans. And that means there's going to be ebb and flow. There's going to be good times and bad times. There's going to be times where we feel depressed and don't even know why. And there's going to be times when we're really happy and don't know why, okay? And that is called the human condition. And our job is to not try to feed the feelings, feed it to create a feeling other than what we're feeling. I think that's the mistake we made, okay? I'm unhappy, therefore I'm going to feed that. Well, you're just going to get more unhappiness, because I guarantee you feeding that unhappiness is not going to make you happy, right? I am depressed, so I'm going to what? Feed it because I'm depressed? It's going to make you more depressed. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not going to have the desired effect. And if we think of that logically, and that's really a chief motivator in my life, really is logic, because I'm a very emotional person. But guess what? Emotion does not stand up to logic. It loses every time. Every single time. It also loses to truth and simplicity that you can't argue with, okay? So emotions are important, but we tend to feed those emotions, don't we? How about we start feeding the truth in our lives? How about that? How about we start feeding logic in our lives? How about we start feeding acceptance? And you know what? Acknowledging who we are, accepting who we are as people, and recognizing that we can work to be better versions of ourselves. But even if we're not that best version of ourselves, it doesn't mean we're a mistake. It doesn't mean that we're wasted. It doesn't mean that we're worthless. Okay, guys? And if there's any gift I could give you for this Christmas holiday season, it would be that. It would be the gift of accepting yourself and believing that you're worth more and listening to the truth in your life and letting that be your guide. So I'm just going to kind of leave you with that one there. And not sure if I'm going to see you guys tomorrow. I'm not sure if time will permit. We'll see about that. If I don't see you before then, I want to wish all of you a very, very, very Merry Christmas. Thank you for being here with me. I hope to join you next week before the new year, and we'll talk a lot more. And hey, I'm always open to your input so I can have new output. So I'm going to close and remind you all to have courage, seek peace, embrace joy, and above all, choose and live that recovery. Remember, you can't stop feeding what's eating you if you don't know what's eating you. I will see you soon. Merry Christmas, guys. Bye.